Yo.
What is up? This is the Silver Screen Savants, horror review number 7. We were talking about The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982, not the 2011 ripoff.
No. Well, 2011 is actually a prequel, so
prequel, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Prequel. And this week it was Anubis's pick for this.
Oh, nice, man.
Thrilling, interesting horror movie.
It's a very interesting horror movie.
Well, it's so easy with all of them because he hasn't seen anything. So I can just throw anything at the fan and say, here we go. We're going to watch this.
Oh, hey, look who just commented that in the chat. Oh,
it's the Stooge, Big Bad Wolf.
Yeah.
How's your little finger doing, Boofy? Sorry, there's no porn here.
But the Thing, 1982, is an intriguing, interesting, and strange movie. To me, my first time watching it, I'm like, I'm kind of curious, clueless, some of the stuff, what's going on, because it's one of those, who is the Thing, who is not. It's a mystery in that aspect. And I like that. And I think it's different. I mean, I feel like the 2011 had some of the element as well. I don't want to do a stream, where you talk about both because one is different than the other.
Well, the first one obviously is about the Norwegian scientist. So everything we see at the beginning of this film is supposed to be represented in the 2011. But the thing is, it's too bad you didn't record yourself watching this film, because usually whenever I watch people react to seeing this film for the first time, it's that dog scene that they just like lose their shit.
You're talking about where the dog becomes a monster and just rips
Yeah.
those other animals. I almost think the dog killed him, but
Well, it was taking them over. It was trying to replicate them.
And it's kind of funny that you said how you used thing in your paraphrasing there, Anubis. It's like the thing is, it's like wow, that's kind of interesting. I know that's not by design, but I mean it just happens like that. So we're gonna be talking about a lot of things in this particular.
Yeah, yeah, and Elvin does bring up a great point though, because the film, this is when Carpenter's really at his best, is giving you a different thing to worry about. So obviously it's about an alien species that can take over bodies and replicate something. But when you think about the film, like even towards the end, it's all about paranoia. Yeah. What it does, like no one trusts anybody, and it has nothing to do with the alien, because you could be killing innocent people and you just wouldn't know it, but you're so paranoid.
You can take the alien out of the equation and have some kind of like Soviet spy or something, and it would still be just as effective.
Yeah, and you got to remember too, this movie came out during the early 80s, and if you listen to a commentary or just some notes about it, this is almost so a parallel of what was going on back then when the immersion of AIDS came into play, and that kind of gestates in this movie a lot, because we do a scene that's we'll talk about, but it's like it harbors that kind of stuff, and it's like, boy, this is why I say this movie is really well made, but unfortunately it didn't get the kudos like it did when it was released.
I'd like to point out this is a movie that has a video game and has a different ending to my knowledge, and it just got remastered last year, in fact, The Thing, and there's a different outcome, if I'm understanding. I don't know, have you played the game, Anthony?
It doesn't really depict the movie as having a different ending, because the movie still very much ends the way it did. It's still very much building off the ending from the movie, but it's showing us the aftermath of it.
Okay, so it's kind of like a what-if scenario in a sense. Sounds more like it.
And it's funny you mentioned that about the games. There's been some comics, some graphic novels that actually depict.
Yeah, I was looking that stuff up as well, and I think there was some from it was on. They came out. I think it was Dark Horse is the one that released them, and one was called, I think, The Thing from Another World.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
that's the original one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's from the 1991 is when it came out. It's just a brief description of it. It's set 24 hours after the film ends, and then it was followed up by The Thing from Another World, Climate of Fear in 1990. And then the 4-part Thing from Another World, Eternal Vows in 1993 of December. A Thing from Another World, Questionable Research also happened.
I'll say, if you're going to read them, read the first one, read Climate of Fear, and ignore Eternal Vows.
Hi, Gojira. Hi. Hi.
What about what was that one called Frozen Hell? Was that part of that the narrative?
Okay, Frozen Hell. You know how it was based on a short story called Who Goes There?
Right.
Well, Who Goes There was originally a full novel called Frozen Hell, but he couldn't get it published as a frozen novel, so a full novel, so he condensed it to the short story.
Okay, because I was always wondering about that narrative to begin with.
Mhm.
Okay.
One thing that amazed me with this movie was the practical effects that you can do with a creature of this era. Oh my gosh. I like these different forms of the thing, whether it be the first form with the dog, all these tentacles are just flying in the air, attacking the dog. Then whether it be the second one,
Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Yes, it is.
I like also the chest burst one where you're like sticking your hands in it and it's like right there. Oh, I agree. The classic. It is a classic. Definitely. I don't know if it's perfect.
It's kind of like something that me and the professor was saying. Some films are not going to be perfect, but they're not so bad either. Because this one is exactly that. It's damn near close to perfection, but it's not that.
What, this film?
Yeah.
Yes.
This film is perfect.
Okay. You heard it from the man himself. He said it's
one of the best horror films you will ever see.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gross too.
I like also how it's coming off the hype of another previous Carpenter movie before this, and Escape from New York. In fact,
Yep.
Escape from New York was before the thing. So then you've got a lot of hype now from Escape with the director from Escape from New York now going into the thing.
Well, I think the two you got to remember, Escape from New York and previous films before those, they were all John Carpenter was working with a low budget at the time. This was a more extreme budget, and this was a studio-made film. This is Universal, so he had a little bit more money under his belt. So it was given to him the reins to say, okay, do something that actually can say is a homage and it's truly living up to the novel or the story that it's based on. And it's funny how this film, when it came out, it went up against Blade Runner. It went up against, I think, Poltergeist, and of course another alien film. And we all know that very lovable E.T. Phone home. That's situation, So yeah,
the debate is on in this stream.
Quick, somebody go over and kick Anthony in the balls. Well, wait a minute, Anthony. We can say this, Anthony. We can say that Rec 3 is definitely a perfect movie.
I like. Well,
he didn't want to play along with me. Shame on you, Anthony. Shame on you.
Might have found the loophole.
Yeah. Fucking idiots.
Oh God. Yeah, but you get the gist. I mean, look, let's be honest. The Thing, I think if it was shown, if it was released in a different time zone, maybe it would have been better. But I don't know. It depends how you look at it, But I feel it came out the right time, right space. It's just that it kind of ran over by all these other films that became classics too, And let's be honest. Does anyone talk about E.T. as much as this film?
No.
Because I swear, I mean, yeah, I could talk to E.T. about it, but it's like E.T. it's like, yeah, he's a good film. It's a good family film, whatever. But let's be honest. I love when I see your chest being open, splitting open. I love when things are popping out of your head or, splitting open. It's like, okay, that's what I need. That's what I want to see when an alien is being in the mix of human beings, So yeah,
you gotta remember too, like the whole thing of a movie just finding its true audience after coming out in the theaters is nothing new. Like It's a Wonderful Life was a commercial and critical bomb at the box office, and whether or not you like that movie,
it was because
can you imagine a Christmas season where at least one channel isn't airing that movie?
Sorry, I'm not a big fan of that movie. It's one that I will never watch really because.
Well, It's a Wonderful Life. It's a classic. I mean, it's a beautiful made film.
Listen,
well, that's up to you, though. I mean,
I've seen it so many times, like clips, flip through. I'll flip through when it's on. I mean, I've watched it once, like before, and it was enough. I like the Arnold one for Christmas and all the other, and then the Polar Express I'll watch sometimes for Christmas.
Well, then, if you ever do decide to do it, you know to watch Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. I think that's a classic Christmas film that you ought to watch.
Never seen it, so I'll have to look into it.
You have to look into it, yes.
I like MacReady's character in the thing as well. I think this is a good example of how you do a protagonist. He's kind of like a silent protagonist in a sense as well. And I like that aspect. I do like, it's like a what if scenario with the thing also, where who is the thing? You know, what are its objectives? Is it to conquer the world? Is it, you know what I mean? Like,
well,
since,
I mean,
since
I'm
you
sorry.
mentioned MacReady, there's something I want to point out that I never hear commented enough about his character. When we first meet him and he's on that chess computer. Now, back in the day, a computer that can just run chess would have been obscenely expensive. And because he can't win it, he dumps his drink in it, destroying the computer. Within seconds of us meeting the character, the movie is already telling us how this man handles a no-win scenario.
He's a fucking bitch.
Yeah, it's like she is like.
Oh, did you know though that the voice of the computer is Adrian Barbeau?
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, Miss. Yes.
And I think the creature just amazes me with this movie. You know, the effects, even though it's dated nowadays. You know,
I can't really say it's dated because I'm gonna be honest with you. I can rewatch that and feel it's very, organic. You know what I mean? Maybe because it's actually tangible effects. It's actual makeup effects. I mean, Rob Bottin, brilliant at his design. He was only 20-something years old when he did this stuff, and he suffered from a little bit of, cold, doing this, but still perfected something that I feel like you can't just necessarily remake today. I mean, you could, but I think he did it well here, and like I say, I can't say creature because there's no real, set design in terms of what a creature is. I mean, they come out looking like this. It can be like the head sequence where Homeboy's head just peels away from the body and then grows legs and walks away. It's like, dude, this brilliant stuff.
I subscribe to the theory that it was some kind of virus initially.
Yeah.
That could be it. We don't know the origin. I mean, you would have to go watch the prequel, then this, in order.
Well, we got to remember, I think that's the thing about, and that's what makes it more scary about this particular organism, is that it attacks you from a cellular, environment in terms of like, it goes, it didn't just take a piece of you and say, okay, this is like, that's going to imitate it. No, it goes down to the final, atom of you and replicates you. And it's like, every part of you is what it is. It's living, it's MacReady said,
if you get just the tiniest speck of its blood on you, you're already dead.
Yeah, you're already done. That's how effective this thing is. That's what makes it so, like I say, a more in the paranoia kind of thought process, because like,
hi Tony,
that would affect you so much.
Tony.
What's up, Tony? Tony the Tiger. Hope that's not offensive to you. I'm sorry. But no, that's the thing about this film. It's, and the funny thing is, I mean, we'll probably talk about it on Anthony's channel, but the original, film for a version of this Fiend from Another World, it was just taking little bits of pieces from the actual story. But when you actually read the original narrative of what the original story was, you'd be surprised how much of that is in this film compared to what's in this actual story. It's like, okay, because there's actually a part that's not in here, but I think there's a hint of it where the creature is able to actually control people's minds to some degree. Okay. And it's moments where you can kind of see that a little bit in here, but it's not like so in your face.
Just look at Matt's comment.
It's best not to know the monster in the dark is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean
That's what makes the ending so perfect, because you just still today people still debate whether or not
MacReady or
Childs, whether or not Childs was like, an alien or not.
I do have something I want to say about the ending that I feel like a lot of people miss, but I'm going to wait till we get to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do, I'm like, when the movie's opening, I'm like, okay, what is this about? Why are they, shooting the dog and stuff? It's like you don't find out till a little bit later in the movie that that's the thing,
Right.
And like the whole time, something just feels off about that dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you can tell there's an intelligence behind that dog that it should not have.
Uh-huh.
Well, the funny thing is that, when you think about like the Norwegians are chasing it and everything, like we think that the Norwegians just go crazy. So we don't have any idea why they're doing it. But then like sometimes I think Carpenter let on a little bit too much about the dog early on, because it gives people this idea, of course, what is wrong with the dog. But but then there are people like me, when they first watch it, were like, no, the dog's cute. The dog just knows. It's almost like Thor from Bad Moon. It's like you want this dog to be like a hero.
Yeah.
It gets put in the kennel, and then shit goes all right. And you're like, oh my fucking God. Like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, we see this dog, once it's in the camp, once it's inside and everything, it's like, okay, it's walking around just aimlessly, you just think to yourself, like, okay, what is this dog doing? And that one scene that's perfect on the dog's part that played that part there, where it's walking around and it stops mid hallway in one of the doors, and it's like it looks over and it sees that someone's in the room, and we never know who the person is that we see in the room with the shadow, with the silhouette, because that's none of the actors in that in playing in the. They say it's Dick Miller or the Norris, yes, or something like that.
But if you look at the silhouette carefully, it's not exactly the same haircut.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's to throw you off and thinking that's we don't know. That's an ambiguous shadow. So when you do find out who is been infected, it's like, okay, but
also, like, fun fact about the dog, one of the reasons it seems so peculiar, that was actually a half wolf dog.
Mm-hmm.
And it did have that wildness to it, and I forget which one of the actors was talking about it, but he said every now and then the dog would stand up and get this strange look about it, and he said the trainer would always have to come in and like back the dog down.
And I liked what Tony said in the comments. He said this film is a great guessing game. He's exactly right. This is exactly how this movie is. It's a guessing game, It's like, who is the thing, who is not, And
well, that's the thing. Like when we get to the guys when they're all strapped down to the couch. The commander who runs security, like he's the only one that has keys to the blood bank, and so like you're led as the plot goes. They want you to believe that he's probably the thing because he's the only one that has access to that. But then obviously we get a scene which we'll get to, obviously, where it just goes right off the rails. You're like, oh shit. But I do love the commander's like comment after the fact. He's just kind of like, I like it if I don't have to be strapped to this fucking couch for the rest of the night.
But I want to bring up something real quick before we go any further, is that this is something that even John Carpenter had said during when he did a commentary with Cook Russell. This thing copies you, pretty much assimilates you so well, you don't even know if you are an assimilation, whatever this is. It's like you're still emoting everything that you were before, but it's like you have no idea that you're actually this already, So it's part, you can't really say, does this person know that they're a thing? Does not know it's the thing? It's so many questions come up. It's like that's the guessing game. As Tony mentioned, it's like it's that hard to decipher.
Mm-hmm. And I like that, what you just said. That's exactly what it is. The movie is a guessing game. It's like, it's exactly what I just said a minute ago. It's like, who did it? Starting off the movie, we're introduced in Antarctica. A dog is running from, a Norwegian helicopter is pursuing a sled dog to a American research station. Passengers witness the helicopter blow up.
Yeah.
In addition to himself, pilot fires a rifle and shouts at the Americans. He's unintelligible, that they can't understand him. He's shot dead in self-defense by Station Commander Gary. The American helicopter pilot R.J. MacReady and Dr. Cooper leave to investigate the Norwegian base. And they find in the Norwegian base, they find charred ruins, frozen corpses. They find probably the first victim of the thing, I would say, of a malformed humanoid. Mm-hmm. They transfer to the American station. Blair, the biologist, autopsies the remains and finds a normal set of human organs. Yeah. I'm just getting the feeling that the burnt corpse of the malformed humanoid could be the first thing. Just a theory. Then, when you see that, I build that theory in there because it's kind of like that, a humanoid in a sense.
Well, we have to remind ourselves now. This is, Anthony is showing the prequel of this there, the 2011, and this is you come to find out what this humanoid type of entity is, and I will give the thing this little moment. You find out what that is that they took back to the American base, because that moment where you see it in the 2011 version, it's like, okay, that makes sense that's what that is, And also, I'm pretty sure this. I think Anthony knows this. Where they go to the Norwegian camp and everything, that's actually the aftermath of the actual set that they built for the American set. Yeah, see, that was actually the remains of what was blown up. But I'm giving too much away. But that's the aftermath of the American camp set that they built for the thing.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
That's just that they use. But yeah, if you look at the
I think he got Jedi stunned there.
I'm actually wondering that myself. Yeah.
Do you know, Anthony? This question?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I don't know. Now you say that, I don't know, Tony. You got me stung. You got me stuck there. I think there's a reason, but I can't remember. I probably heard it in a commentary or interview. Actually, I don't know why he wore that hat. That cowboy hat, because it makes him look like because you think about MacReady's character is a loner anyway. He's somebody who keeps to himself. He's not somebody who interacts with too many people. So maybe that was just a symbolism of who he is, and that's the reason why he wears that.
And Anthony just put a hat on now.
Well, yeah.
He's like the master of disguise.
Well, maybe so.
Clark Kennel's the sled dog. It soon metamorphoses and absorbs station dogs there. The disturbance alerts the team. Childs uses a flamethrower to incinerate the creature. Blair autopsies the dog thing. Finds out it's an organism that can perfectly imitate other life forms. Data recovered from the Norwegian base leads the Americans to a large excavation site containing a partially buried alien spacecraft. Norris estimates has been buried for over 100,000 years, and a smaller human-sized dig site. Did I skip stuff? I feel like I did.
Not too much. You pretty much on a roll, you know. I mean,
Okay.
I will put this. I will pull this out real quick. When what was his name? Alfred Winfrey. Not Alfred Winfrey. I'm saying Alfred Winfrey. The guy who
Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley. Yes,
Blair.
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 When he's doing the autopsy of the dog thing and everything. They say that he was actually infected right then when because notice how he puts that pencil up against to one of the
it's every time I look at it, I'm like, no, he didn't point at it, he touched it.
Yeah. And then he kind of touched it with himself. It's like, and I didn't catch as many times I've watched that. I didn't catch that first. I mean, many times I've seen it, and it's like, that's true. He probably was.
I think there's also a shot where you see like a little speck of blood on his arm.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Since we're bringing Wilford Brimley up, and you all know the diabetes commercials with him, so I gotta ask this: when the thing assimilated him, did it get diabetes?
Yeah, because you have to remember this, and see, this is one thing I can say the prequel does a good job of, is that it doesn't assimilate anything inorganic. It always imitates something that's organic. So I have a feeling that, I think it did imitate his diabetes, because remember Norris, it imitated him so well that it imitated his bad heart. So so it imitates anything organic, but anything that's inorganic, like fillings or something like that, it doesn't do that. Or like say steel plates, it won't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it probably did get diabetes.
I do think the dog thing is an interesting creature, though. Just the effects, anything with it,
Well, you notice how when you see it first change, how its face just splits open in 4 ways. I was like, dude, I thought that was so amazing effect. I mean, like, I don't think you can't do that digitally. I'm sorry, that's just not possible. I mean, it's just that horrendous how it's done. And then the skull part that it shows the reveal, just falls out, and it's just going all over the place. It's just, I love it.
Blair runs a computer simulation that indicates the creature could assimilate all life on Earth in a matter of years. The group implements controls to reduce the risk of assimilation. I'm thinking that's the Thing's spacecraft now that they found, containing the partially buried alien spacecraft. Could be it. Maybe. Remains to be seen if they'll ever, release a cut, with that.
Well, I think that's the thing about this film. It leaves you with questions, and I think that's a good thing. It shouldn't give you direct answers.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
because if you have all the answers, it's like, okay, well, then it's not so much of a mystery anymore. You want to kind of run with that. And this
I like the idea that ship wasn't the Thing's actual ship.
mm-hmm.
I like the idea that these aliens were kind of explorers. They touched down on a planet, and unwittingly, one of them contracted the Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it's
certainly a possibility.
I mean, that's actually an interesting take on that, because like I say, you can't actually say that that's its origin story, because it's not necessarily. If you think about it, the Thing has. I don't really think it has a structure of its own. I think it's, as you mentioned before, Oven. It's a virus. It's a infection. So it doesn't have no real structure of its own. It has no real characterization. It's actually something that, wheels off something else, hosts off something else, infected.
Every single cell is its own creature.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. The remains of the malformed humanoid assimilate and isolate in beddings. Windows interrupts the process, and MacReady burns the bedding thing. And I think that's an interesting, burning alive.
Let's talk about that, like, Benning scene. Like, what's so great about that, and like that chilling scream he lets out, it's not the thing trying to be intimidating, it's the thing literally screaming in fear.
Hmm.
You know, I never even thought about it that way. I figured it was just him. I mean, it's just that's the way it's responding because you look when the bending thing, you know, with the deformed hands, whatever you want to call it, and he kind of looks at MacReady. He just goes with open his mouth like, oh, and you see that steam coming out of his mouth. You know, it's like that's so chilling. You know, I mean, and that's another thing I can say. It doesn't have a specific sound about itself in terms of how does it actually sound. You just know it sounds unearthly, unholy whenever it's in its different forms or shapes that it does. You know,
Tony was talking to you, Anubis, in the chat for a second about something, mentioning unknown event or something. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm trying to figure out as well. Something about a prequel idea. He's pulling.
Unless that's what he's talking about. It's a prequel.
Yeah. So he's trying to just like lay it out. It's almost like, as Anthony put it, you know, you can make a movie where you take an alien species that's actually an explorer and they end up getting by whatever this creature is.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I see what he said. So I mean, it's an interesting perspective. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I guess you could do it. You did it with fucking ET, but you still had human people within it. But I mean, look, the 2011 story is not bad. It's just they cheaped out on the CGI. Like that's where the mistakes are made is with that. So, cat's going crazy. I think my cat's infected.
Yeah.
Well, be careful now.
All right.
If your head starts to split open, it's like
that heartburn. Yeah, sure did.
Mm-hmm.
No, but speaking of Spear, as Tony was saying, like Spear, that's a whole other kind of entity in itself. I mean, the film itself. I'm gonna just say this: it's super boring in my mind. You know, I mean, just that maybe the concept is a good idea, but it's a waste of time in my mind.
Is that the cat's tail that's making the light on your?
Since we're talking about the film, we
the
gotta
light on his thing.
We really gotta take a moment to address the music.
Yes,
Yes,
I agree.
Carpenter again.
Some Ennio Morricone.
Yes, and this is one thing.
Because of stupid union rules, he literally wasn't allowed to be both the director and the composer.
And see, for the longest time, because I was wondering, because McConaughey's music in here is brilliant, but I always wondered that sound, that the actual theme to the thing. I was like, that sounds too much like a Carpenter motif. I mean, it sounds more like that's something Carpenter would produce.
Well, I'm pretty sure McConaughey probably watched a few of his films or listened to his soundtrack to get an idea of what kind of sound would accompany a Carpenter film.
Mm-hmm.
But that simple plucking of a bass, it's one of the simplest pieces of music in any film, but it's one of the most effective.
It's kind of, see, I was telling this to someone else. It's kind of related to the Jaws theme, where you hear notes. It's like dum 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 dum. It's like it goes on like that, and I feel like this theme for this film is so like simple, but it's so effective,
and it sounds almost like a heartbeat.
Yes, I was gonna say it sounds just like that, and I feel like that's the thing. Can you tell the heartbeat from a real person to something that's simulated? It's like, yes. Yeah, I think the music doesn't get enough credit for what it is, and I should mention this. Tarantino is a big fan of this film, just like all of us, and some of the cues in the film that were done by that was done by the composer was actually used in what was the movie? Oh my god, I'm giving a brain fart like you won't believe. 8, that Western that came out in 2015.
Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight. Thank you. Oh my God, what's going on with me, man? My mind is I might be assimilated. I don't know. So that was those cues that weren't used in the thing, because McConaughey made a lot of cues for the thing, but they weren't used in there, and he used it in that film since he was the composer on that film. So, you know, let's throw that out. And okay, did he get assimilated?
Did his cat unplug the router?
I didn't mean to. Okay.
What happened? Did you get assimilated?
Oh, wrong click on my mouse.
Okay.
Okay.
I was like, the host is gone.
No, I didn't mean
Alvin's
to.
disappeared.
You know how tech difficulties randomly happen.
Alrighty, that was unexpected.
The team also.
Fine, if you want to leave, just go, man.
Yeah. But no, Anthony makes up a great point. I mean, that's something I think needs to be discussed. The score of this film. I mean, look, it's haunting, but at the same time, you can relate to it because it does its job. It does not play around. It doesn't be apologetic about it. It's like you're for a thrill ride, and you're not going to be let go from it.
Okay, anything else happens, I am blood testing all three of you.
Well, unfortunately, it can't simulate electronics, so I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Yeah, Alvin, next time it kicks you out, please do not throw any alcohol on your computer. It will destroy it.
Yeah, there you go.
The team also imprisons Blair in a tool shed after he sabotages the vehicles, kills the remaining sled dogs, and destroys the radio to prevent escape. Cooper suggests testing for infection by testing the blood held in storage. After learning the blood stores had been destroyed, the men lose faith in Gary's leadership, and MacReady takes command. He, Windows, and Knowles find.
Well, you nailed it, so that's Knowles.
He, Windows, and Knowles find Fuchs's burnt corpse. He committed suicide to avoid assimilation.
At least we think he did. We don't really know. I mean, that could have been go away.
Windows returns to base while MacReady and Knowles investigate MacReady's shack. During their return, Knowles abandons MacReady in a snowstorm, believing he has been assimilated after finding his torn clothes in the shack. The team debates whether to allow MacReady inside, but he breaks in and holds the group at bay with dynamite. During the encounter, Norris appears to suffer a heart attack. As Cooper attempts to defibrillate Norris, his chest transforms into a large mouth and bites out Cooper's arms, killing him. And that is a cool kill. Just the practicality of how they did it is interesting, I'm sure.
They used a double amputee.
Yeah, the guy who's screaming like that's a double amputee, and they used a mask version of the actor who gets his arms bitten off in a close-up or for a distance shot to show that that's actually him, but it's not, But yeah, and the weird thing about this is, this is where the paranoia of this film really amps up to the 10th degree, because before that a moment where MacReady pretty much takes over the leadership and does these things, and really gets his bearing on who he is and what needs to be done. When he tries to come in through the door, because he's been left, to freeze and everything, Childs, is saying, just let him freeze to death. And one of the guys, says, let's open the door so we can just blow it away. It's like, no, let him freeze to death. And one of the guys says, like, Childs, what if we're wrong? He's like, well, they were wrong. This is where you realize how paranoia really works, because you're at
that's an interesting scene, because later on, when MacReady has the advantage with the gun, Childs is like, well, because he ends up, MacReady kills the dog kennel guy, the guy that runs that, and he's like, well, you just murdered somebody. But I'm thinking it back, Child saying that about MacReady. He's like, he didn't care about it back then. So it's
there's a nice
double standard.
call to that in an earlier scene for the direction it's going to go when he's recording the audio log and he's like, nobody trusts anybody anymore. Then he rewinds it and records over it with "We're all very tired."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like I say, it's a very, I think that's something that I think a lot of people overlook. At least back then, it's like, dude, this is a way more structured film or moments that you think it is. It's like, and then like I say, we get into that moment where it the thing pretty much bites the guy's arms off, and MacReady fries it. But then that's when Norris's head just starts screaming and pulls away, because this is the moment where we realize this thing has multiple extensions of itself. It's like, it's not just like, okay, if you burn it or whatever, it's or shoot it, it's just flesh. It's like, no, this thing has many parts of it.
Okay, I got this part here. I got like a real funny story connected to this scene. I was watching the movie late night with a friend that was staying with me, and right after this scene and the whole "you gotta be kidding me" part, we heard a commotion on the front porch, and there was this guy, homeless dentist. He was wanting to ride out on the night out on the porch, and I wasn't letting him, so we called the cops. The cops come and take him away. And not 2 minutes after the cops take him away, another homeless guy that's drunk out of his mind comes walking up the street. I don't see it, and my friend Al, he's saying like, "You gotta be kidding me." And I look over and we see that guy walking up the steps to the front porch.
Wow.
Like every time I watch that scene, I think of that incident.
Wow. You've got to be effing kidding me.
I like, so his MacReady incinerates the Norris thing. Its head detaches and turns into this cool-looking spider-like thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it attempts to escape before also being burnt. MacReady hypothesizes that the Norris thing demonstrated that every part of the thing is an individual life form with its own survival instinct.
Sorry.
One
thing, I gotta say this one thing too about this. The head, spider head, it's like, why did it stand right there and let it get itself incinerated right then and there?
Yeah.
I don't understand that moment, because it's like you're trying to self-preservate yourself, and yet just stand there and get burnt to a crisp. I don't understand. It's like that's some called plot armor. It says like, well, we gotta burn everything, but it's allowing itself to get burned. I don't understand. It's like, is this thing stupid? I mean, it's just, I don't get it. Maybe not all his parts are that intelligent. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to throw that out there.
He proposes testing blood samples from each survivor with a heated piece of wire, and as each man restrained, he kills Clark after he lunges at MacReady with a scalpel. Everyone passes the test except Palmer, who turns out is the next thing. He breaks free of his bonds. He injects Windows, forcing MacReady to get rid of both of them.
I do want to point out something cool here that the film does and sets up a pattern. We see him test a couple on the table, then he picks them up and starts. And that's when we have Palmer's test, and it comes to play with the next tests where that pattern comes back and builds some suspense. All right, is anyone else here the thing? Because you see that same, okay, the last time he picked one up, something happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good nod and letting you know it's like, is this real? Is this even happening? And to me, this is an excellent example of jump scares, because before now, jump scares are kind of cheap. They're not really, stylized really well. This was a good build up to that moment. And when he tells the guy, the security guy, say, "We'll do you last," and all of a sudden, bam, and it's game on, and I have to say that this moment is my favorite moment in the scene where they're all tied up and everything, and Palmer's, whatever. And you see this moment where MacReady tells Windows, say, blast them, you got a flamethrower, blast this damn thing. This was the moment where I was saying about the thing can kind of control, some people's minds a little bit, because either it's that he's so stunned by the presence of this thing.
That's what I think it was. I don't think it has any mind control capabilities. I think he was just more in a state of shock.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you watch him, he had enough sense about him to still, right after he got grabbed, to drop the flamethrower.
So it's and I'm wondering, how did the flamethrower just fell off of him? But I mean, that's plot armor for you. But when he's got him picked up and just thrashing him around, you hear him yelling, and everything. I'm just like, this is chaos at its best. I mean, I'm just loving this, I'm just like, this is exactly what you want in this moment, and MacReady, he can't do anything because he's got like some air in his fuel line. He can't fire or anything like that. So everything's going to shit right now, so it's like, all right, well, everything's what it is. And then when Palmer thing throws the windows up, like, this is just so, I mean, it's not supposed to be funny, but it's funny knowing that he had a chance, but he's been assimilating. We already know he's assimilated. So then MacReady pretty much fires him up, fires Palmer up, and I gotta say, this is a moment where I didn't realize this was true or not, but when MacReady, when he blows him up with that piece of dynamite, that was actually Kirk Russell in that moment, and he almost got hurt in that scene. I don't know if y'all know this. He almost got hurt doing that scene because he didn't know that explosion was going to be that powerful when it blew up. So
yeah, didn't it like almost blow out an eardrum or something?
Yeah, it almost did that. I think he did say I did kind of not lose, but it just kind of got a bad hearing or something like that in his. I think it was his left ear or right ear, one of the two.
I'm honestly gonna have to check out the novel for the thing. It's called Who Goes There. It came out in 1938.
Yeah,
it is, and I think it gives what people want with this, but it's how the ending, it's a mystery, but at the ending and stuff, but it gives the explanation of what
Well, I don't know if you realize this, that in the original novella, that there's actually, that's the one thing about this film too. There's no female characters in this film, but in the the short story itself, there is like one or two female characters in that story. I don't know.
And they didn't use the flamethrower. They used this kind of electric harpoon thing they had rigged up for ice fishing.
That's in the short story, I'm assuming. Yeah. So I'm not for sure. I didn't know if that was in that or not. But yeah, like I say, after all this is going on, and then we see Windows, you hear, because you kind of hear some kind of unearthly grunting coming from it. It's like, it's like, we got to burn this too. It's like, your ass is going to be burned to a crisp. So MacReady comes back in and fries him up. And I heard that the guy who was doing the puppeteering with that Windows thing, he said he almost got hurt doing that particular scene, because it's like, we got to remember, this is the days where things were done on set, in camera, and it was behind, like I say, it was behind the wall and everything, but still doing all that is like, that's a dangerous, stunt they would.
And like some of the stuff they really had to do it in one take, because once you light the prop on fire, you can't exactly let's refilm it.
right? Yeah, you gotta make sure the shot is right and perfect for those specific scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you only have like one shot to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And even though this was a more big budget that John Carpenter used, it was not as big as some of the other budgets that was done during that time. Some of the films that came out that year, you know.
Childs is left on guard in the main building while MacReady, Gary, and Knowles go to test Blair. Blair has escaped. He's been using vehicle components to assemble a small flying saucer, which they destroy. When they return, Childs is missing, and the power generator has been destroyed, leaving the men without heat. MacReady speculates that with no escape left, the Thing intends to return to hibernation until a rescue team arrives. The three men agree that the Thing cannot be allowed to escape and set explosives to destroy the station. The Blair Thing kills Gary and Knowles disappears. The Blair Thing transforms into an enormous creature and breaks the detonator. MacReady triggers the explosives with a stick of dynamite, destroying the station and the Blair Thing. MacReady sits by the burning remnants. Childs returns, claiming he got lost in the storm while pursuing Blair, exhausted and slowly freezing to death. They acknowledge the futility of their distrust and share a bottle of J&B Scotch whiskey. So I'm going to pose a theory. I think that was the final thing, but that's just me.
Well, I tell you what, I'll start it off by saying this, and this has been speculations throughout about this film. The original ending, I say the original ending because when we see MacReady coming out of the flames and coming out of everything, it was supposed to end there. But the moment we see Childs, that's what they pretty much saying, okay, we're gonna, because they were gonna, I think they filmed it, but they say we're gonna cut to just him coming out and that'll be it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they had that discussion about, if you're worried about me, you shouldn't be.
And there was also another scene shot for the ending that was going to have a dog running away from the burning outpost.
Yes, I saw that too. It's. I think that's the thing they wanted to do. I'm saying the thing. I think that's what they wanted to do is like kind of give sense like, okay, you haven't really won. You just delayed the inevitable. And the one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Well, I was going to say they were delaying the inevitable, but they feel like it might have just been that was it. That was the thing. But we know that these two, if they are human, they're going to die anyway, because the simple fact is you sacrifice yourselves to stop something that was going to lead to a global apocalypse, and
Yeah.
I mean, if you got to sacrifice yourself to do that, you have to do that. And I want to add on to it that when we see the grand explosion in the end, there was no sound of like some inhuman, sound of the thing being blown up. They actually added that later on because they feel like it's letting you know it's like this thing is getting destroyed. It's being destroyed right there before your eyes, So, yeah.
Here's my thing with the ending, and I know this is the debate that will exist as long as this film exists. Is MacReady the thing? Is Childs the thing? My take, it's 100% irrelevant. There's the thing MacReady blew up outside after the blood test, and the giant Blair thing. Not every little bit of that was completely incinerated. There's bits of the thing all over the place. So there are a lot of little time bombs around that camp that are going to be found and have the risk of spreading the infection. So neither one of them needs to be the thing. The threat of the thing is still very much alive and well.
Right.
Yeah, and it's been proven that if it gets burned up, it still has like living cells that can run, even if it freezes. So
you pretty much have to burn it to a complete ash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you got the
2011. That's the terrible one.
This one, John.
It's debatable. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect. I mean, in fact, I can say it's not. It's kind of disappointing, but there are some good points to it in the film that bring up in the film. I have to say.
You know what's funny is I the 2011 is the one I'd seen before this one, not
Really?
recently or like before, way before. It's been a long time since I've seen the 2011. I had seen the 2011. I would say if I had to score that one, it would be a 7 out of 10, maybe 6, 7, somewhere in that ballpark range.
Well, you're wrong, Kevin. It is actually perfect. I will say that. That's just my opinion, though. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're talking about the 2011, right, Alvin? Yeah. I mean, it's like I say, it's up to debate. I mean, it does bring out some cool things that was not addressed in the John Carpenter version, but it's for anyone to see. It's anyone to debate on that.
This is one movie I would like to see a legacy sequel done.
That's a question, because like I say, I've seen some called sequels in comic book form, certain stories. It's there, but I mean, it's that's the thing. And can you say, because I think they've actually had video games, right, Anthony, where they've made a sequel with this?
Mm-hmm.
In this one here, it's revealed why in the comic books Childs wasn't infected at the end of the movie. When the second run of the comics came out, Climate of Fear, Childs is one of the things in this.
Yeah, I do remember reading that.
You got me intrigued to look into them, maybe check them out. In fact,
I was gonna say you might want to check that out, because they do bring up that, and like I say, Childs is infected by it, and see.
I think we were talking about this movie earlier.
Sorry, I'm more a Predator fan than the Aliens. Me personally. I'm sure we'll be dissecting those down the future with Anubis, the Aliens, maybe.
Yes.
But final thoughts for this movie, and then we can all give our scores, all that stuff, and then go from there. I really enjoy the music, the creature designs, the story is there, everything. I love it a lot. Solid 10 out of 10 for me. Who wants to go next? I don't care.
Let's go below. Let's go to Mr. Velle.
Yes. Well, you know me. I'm going to say, despite what some people have said, they say it's not necessarily a perfect film. I mean, I was kind of joking earlier, but no, this film, look, I don't know what the people back then in the theaters or critics back then were smoking. They didn't see a diamond in the rough when this movie came out. I'm sorry, y'all. I mean, look, if I had seen this film in the theater, which I know I was been too young to watch, but I know it would have scared the hell out of me, but it would have been effective, because it is that good. It's well made, it's well paced. The effects in there still look good even after 40 years. So, like you, Elvin, 10 out of 10. Okay.
Mr. Jordan.
Love the film. It's an absolute classic, as close to perfect as you can get, but I just think perfection is always just out of reach, but I'm still going to give it a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Well, Anubis, give us your rating, sir.
Definitely a timeless classic for me. I remember going back and watching the original, and even though it's not a horrible film, I sat there and I said, wow, the fact that Carpenter can come back and totally reimagine that story, and then with the practical effects in this film, the special effects, is even now I sit there and I say to myself, I don't know how they did this. Like, it's so amazing. Like, the way everything works. Even something as small as the dog kennel scene where MacReady shoots one of the dogs because he knows that, at least at that time, he's assuming that the dog is in pain and hurting. So he shoots it to put it out of its misery. It's almost like putting down a horse. But the effects there, I watch it. I said, dude, that looks like a real fucking dog. Like I freak the fuck out all the time when I watch that because it's really hard. You know, your heart's like, no. But you know, the reality is it's not a real dog. But the way that they convey that's emotion, man. That's what movies are meant to do. And again with the whole subplot, the paranoia. I'm thinking about, like, you know, Anthony brought up the time period, or maybe it was Jedi, about the scare of AIDS and stuff like that. So, you know, Carpenter was always using real life events to kind of retell it through his stories. And you know, back then, Siskel and Ebert, you know, they were really much more snobby than they ever were later in life. But I think they got too much on the hate train for a lot of the horror films, because that was, you know, this was the decade where slashers were really starting to take off and stuff, and they just weren't really interested in being nice to horror films in general. So it's unfortunate that they didn't really care for this film. But for me, like, it's always going to be in my top 5 of horror films. Like, you just never. Go ahead.
It's kind of hilarious that the same Gene Siskel that said this movie was grotesque and vulgar would go on to give The Devil's Rejects thumbs up.
Right.
Exactly. Like, that's more like grotesque and vulgar than this movie ever thought about being.
Right. And that's the thing, right? So I think over time they just kind of had to, like, say to themselves, like, you know what, maybe we're a little bit too hard on horror. Like, it's like these guys, because back then they just thought they were the shit, they were the big deal, and they didn't really want to give horror films a real chance. But either way, I love this film a lot. Top 5 easily as far as all-time horror films. 10 out of 10, straight up.
If you want a good laugh, look on YouTube and look up some of the Siskel and Ebert Friday the 13th. There's one where you could have not seen the steam coming out of Siskel's ears.
Yeah, they just hated the horror genre so much.
Which
I think they actually lived for to try to, like, bash movies they just didn't care for.
But I'm wondering to myself, I mean, did they feel that same way with The Exorcist? You know, would they feel that way about that film? I mean, because that's a very well-made film. I mean, if they thought that same thing about that, well, then there's no comparison. They as you say, they probably just bash on films just to be bashed.
Well, it's hard to say too, because I remember reading or watching something on The Exorcist and how people would line up down the road. Like, this was before Jaws in '75, when it was like people lined up down the block. The Exorcist had the same thing, and people were coming out of the theater scared and terrified. And so, if Siskel and Ebert were doing reviews, and I don't know if they were, I can't remember, but they probably would have said to themselves, well, people are going to see this and they're liking it, so we have to kind of give it good scores. You know, this way, I think the budget for this was like $15 million. They only made like 19 in America. So obviously this film didn't do as well as Carpenter and Hope, but again, because I think that maybe Gene and Siskel and Ebert, they went and saw this before everyone else did, so they had a chance to kind of blast it before it actually had anybody go watch it. How can they bash films like that? Yeah, exactly.
Everybody else, it's very.
Do you want upcoming content? We'll start with you, Jedi, Graham, Velle.
Yes, I do have something coming up tomorrow where I'm going to be joining up with the professor. We're going to be talking about 2 TV, might as well say 2 classic TV Cold War films, The Day After and Threads. One's an American-made film, American television film. The other one's a British television film, and they're both dealing with the before and after of nuclear holocaust. So we're going to kind of discuss that, kind of touch bases on those things. And coming next Saturday, and it's going to be a special little thing that I got coming up. And believe it or not, the other half of the Metal Tavern, Neko, will be joining me with another lady guest, where we're going to be discussing how the sisterhood of Godzilla, or the kaiju universe, has affected them and how is related to them in their hearts and minds. So that'll be on next week's around 5 o'clock my time, but you'll see it. I'll have it posted up. So, yeah.
Very nice.
Anthony Jordan.
Well, just finishing up on my Montober content, playing Dark Pictures Anthology House of Ash. I still need to iron out the date with DJ Anubis and Tony of the Dead, but sometime next month I'm going to have them on to discuss The Town That Dreaded Sundown. I got at some point, I'm going to do a live watch along of Night of the Living Dead, and I'll be ending Montober with Recovering Halloween Resurrection this year.
Interesting. A Halloween movie in your Montober. Anubis.
Right now, the only things I really have slated are on Tuesday, I'll be joining Samurai and Rick Myers for Action Film Autopsy for this month. And we'll be talking about a lot of the stuff that Rick and I have been watching, as well as Samurai. And then Wednesday, my pick for Ghouls at Midnight is going to be a movie called Lux Eterna. It's on Shudder right now. So that's my pick this week. That's pretty much all I got right now.
I do. First thing we'll start off with is our next show for Savants is a movie that's on Shudder. It's another I don't know how you describe the character, because is he a kaiju? He's not, but he's like, I would say demigod-ish is a terminology, and that is, let me see, make sure I say
Rawhead Rex.
Rawhead Rex.
Yes.
A movie that a lot of people have said to check out. So, and it's also a Clive Barker movie, if you didn't know that.
Actually, I did know that. I did know.
It's he did the screenplay for it. So that'll be interesting to check out.
It's a British production. I know that.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm really looking forward to it. It's one I've heard people talk about. So I can't wait to look forward to right here, this comment about it.
Hey, there it is.
There's another character in October, I think, that might give me nightmares, but I won't talk about that till we get to that end of October. As for me, also, as for other stuff, I just made this thumbnail today. We changed up our character for the show.
Killer Croc.
A character that I love in terms of Batman villains. I'll probably go into why I freaking love this character. This is with Gojira851 as well. Me and him know this character pretty well. So,
all right.
Be prepared for Killer Croc. Killer Croc is a tragic character. Well, it's kind of the stuff he did that turned him into Croc. Also, so, and then also tonight I'll be finishing this up on stream afterwards. This is Marvel Spider-Man. I resumed it last night. So that was a total blast. We are going to be finishing the story and starting the DLC. Yes, I 100% agree about this comment about what Big Bad Wolf said about Killer Croc. He is such a dark, drooming, sad, tragic. We also are continuing our Gears of War Reloaded playthrough at some point. I want to do this month for October also. I want to get one of the Resident Evil games started on the channel and do that as a stream. Why not? October is built for horror months and all that fun stuff. So, and with Killer Croc, we'll be talking about the comic stuff. We might go into the games because he is prominent in the Arkham games, and he could be prominent in the upcoming one that's coming out next year as well for Batman, because there is a new Lego Batman, and it's like in the Arkham style of games. So it'll be interesting to see if he's in the game or not. Other than that, we have our Henshin Revolution podcast. I just got the intro done the other night. I've got to upload it into the system or whatever, save it and put it on here. And then I got to do the outro. Then I got to do intro, outro for Henshin Highlight, which is, but we are talking about androids for our first series, which is a Toei series. In fact, this is a pretty cool series. It's out on DVD it's out on Blu-ray from Discotheque Media, in fact. So if you never checked it out, look it out. It's on Amazon to get as well, and Crunchyroll. So if you want to pick it up, it's
Okay.
This is a series also that aired in Hawaii back in when they used to air stuff. So I think that's all the stuff. I'm thinking of doing a couple new shows besides the one for where I'll be doing stuff on Steam. I might want to do maybe a monster show, like looking into horror icons, monsters, whatever. Maybe Anubis and me could pull something through. Do like a recorded, like how you do your vintage cult or something, maybe do. I think that would be a cool idea for like looking into the monster stuff. I do also, whenever I get an opening for the channel, I am going to probably look at trailer reactions.
Yeah.
Those are always good. Yeah.
Trailer reactions are good.
I know for a fact also in November, Bond is coming back, and I don't know if I want to tease it yet. I guess I can, because I already know what one I want to start Bond back with you in Thunderball. One that I, over the years, used to be on my lower tier list of where Bond is, but then over the years it gets higher and higher and higher. So it's like,
well, can I ask this one question? Are we going to do a
yes.
what's on up? Okay.
I already know where you're going.
Okay.
We still have that planned, and we're probably gonna have to do it towards the end of November. But obviously, we can try to get as many Bond films as we can in, but we're not going to make all of them. but we're all familiar with the film, so it shouldn't be that hard to put them in order. And all
I was going to say I'm going to be off one of those weeks in November, so it's like that won't be a problem for me.
All right, well, let us know which one you're off, and then we can schedule it then.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know.
Gotcha.
I was going to mention also with the other version of Savants, I updated the theme song, so it's metal. It's metal music. I'm like, it needed a new change. The music is just a generic at first, so now this is
but it kicks butt.
It's heavy, like a dark, heavy metal. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna rock this world.
All right, there you go. Rocket.
Yeah, I think that's all the stuff. Yeah. But tune in next Saturday for Silver Screen Savants. It'll be episode number 8. We are going to be talking about 1986's Rawhead Rex, a movie that I chose out of the blue. That's blind, and then we will be doing another Carpenter movie the week after, in fact, in The Fog. I believe it's Carpenter.
It is The Fog.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to say also with The Thing, we got a legendary stuntman in this movie as well, and Dick Warlock.
That's right. Yeah.
He's in a lot of movies we've covered lately, I believe. Mm-hmm. In fact, but This has been Silver Screen Savants, episode number 7 for horror reviews. And wait. Okay.
Wait.
Sorry, I'm trying. Me and you need to look at something after stream. It's in the chat. Not this chat.
Another chat.
But this has been Silver Screen Savants horror review number 7 for The Thing from 1982. If you've never checked this movie out, go check it out. I might even look at the game at some point in the future on the channel. So that might be look forward to that. I want to do Killer Clowns also for sure in the future on the channel as a review.
Nice.
And I love that franchise. I don't know why. But this has been Silver Screen Savants. We will see you all next time. Peace out.
All right.